Hello, I'm Jeffrey Penanera.
And I'm Andres Guzman.
And you're listening to Film Q. Welcome back for our third episode. A couple amendments from last week. This is going to be a recurring segment, it seems. But we forgot to mention the name of my friend who does the music. His name is Kevin Matos, but he goes by Emperor Bohe when he makes his music. And that track is called Locos. And check him out on his SoundCloud and his website, emperorbohe.com. Great stuff on there. And I want to thank him again for helping us with the music. Also, somehow we forgot to mention Orson Welles in our Mount Rushmore episode.
I was like looking at other movies, and then I saw people, and I also saw like people talking about Citizen Kane, and I was like, how the fuck did we not mention Citizen Kane once?
Right. Let's just establish that maybe we have those four directors at Mount Rushmore, and Orson Welles is just the Statue of Liberty. He's his own entity. he's the beacon that guides us on our way.
Especially you went on a whole thing about Hitchcock helping like make the cinematic language, and it's like I'm pretty sure Citizen Kane like fucking drop kicked it like into it all.
Hitchcock, I feel like if we're gonna like put it in layman's terms, I guess, because it's not literal. I mean, there's hundreds of directors who helped establish these things, but if we're gonna put it in this way, maybe Hitchcock formulated a lot of that language, and Orson Welles took it and coalesced it into this singular being and used it all.
I thought I said layman's terms.
Okay, I'm sorry. In my layman's terms, not that makes me sound so pretentious. Anyway, he basically, with Citizen Kane, he coalesced all that knowledge and put it into one film and showed this is cinema, right? This is what cinema can do that other mediums can't, because you have like documentary style footage, you have flashbacks, you have fucking, it's ridiculous.
Right. I also want to mention that I'm okay with the answers that I had last week, but if I were to have a second chance at changing my options, I'd probably switch it up and go with George Méliès, Orson Welles, Francois Truffaut, and I'd keep Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of Spielberg, what did we watch this week?
Before we start talking about what we saw, I wanted to mention earlier today I saw Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and I adored it.
Which I've heard is incredibly divisive.
I don't know who are these people. I want to read their reviews afterwards, but I adored it. I thought it was great. I thought just a little quick review of it. The director did interesting work with it. It's in limited release right now. If you get a chance, I think you should watch it. But
we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna end up catching that one. There's a lot of movies I want to see before it.
Oh yeah.
But
what's not in limited release and is Jurassic World.
Yeah, you actually were telling me earlier today about how your theater where you work has like apparently is anticipating huge crowds for that.
Yeah. Okay. So I worked a bit over 8 hours on opening day yesterday. And it was hectic and it was insane. And I also worked the entire opening weekend of Avengers, and it was not even that bad during Avengers. It was chaotic.
That's what blows my mind. I feel like there was so much anticipation going to Avengers that a lot of those things you were telling me would have been established then. Like opening the doors at 9 a.m. you said?
Yeah, so there are people, some of my coworkers opened Saturday and Sunday at 9, I believe. Like doors are opening around 9 in the morning. Our first showings were around 9:45.
Jeez. It's like unheard of. It's usually first noon?
Noon. Some days like 11:30, but like rarely before
generally
that.
Around noon. Yeah.
So I saw Jurassic World with my coworkers. Usually with these big movies, sometimes our managers like to set what they call a cast screening, and typically it's after the release day and after doors are closed. We go into the theater and there's not many people show up, but some of us show up and it's a small group of us and we watch the movie. But I had shown up for right after doors closed, and there was bags of popcorn on the floor. There was just like kernels all over the place. Having worked so long that day, it was I can attend to it. It felt like we survived a war. Like everybody just was distraught all night.
I can't believe I mean, I can, because I know a lot of people who have like very strong emotional connections to the original film. Not so much the sequels, but it still blows my mind that Jurassic World is the film that broke your theater essentially.
Yeah, I just recently looked it up, and according to a few numbers from Box Office Mojo, it says it made 82 million first day.
First day, Jesus.
Apparently, I'm gonna guess. I think that might include the Thursday night showings. I'm not entirely sure,
Yeah.
but from what I saw, it said it said 82 million, which is like I believe it said that the first number one was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and then Age of Ultron, and now Jurassic World.
Yeah, see, so Age of Ultron didn't have that massive, I guess.
Maybe it was my theater.
Anyway, so did the film deserve that sort of that much box office, I guess? That sort of business.
I don't know if it did. I'll go straight on the record first of all and say I had a lot of fun and I liked watching it. I don't know if it deserved that much money.
Well, okay.
I
shouldn't have framed the question.
Yeah, because if that were the case, I'd be like, no. Give that money to Mad Max. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, just more money for Mad Max. That's a good mantra. More money for Mad Max.
But I do think it deserved it. It is a...
Okay, let's reframe the question. Did you like it?
I did. I did. Even like the beginning was a bit slow, but
not slow enough, I felt. I'm like, in the original Jurassic Park, it takes almost half an hour to get a good look at a dinosaur, and it plays beautifully. And this movie kind of rushes through all that, just like...
It does, but I meant like the first one quickly, like you start off on the island, right?
No, you start off... Do you start off on the island?
You start off with the island with they like lower the cow.
Oh yeah, the raptor sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's almost like a prologue.
It's all kind of hidden, but like with this one, we start off with the kids at their parents' house, getting ready to leave to the airport.
Which is actually, I mean, I feel like a lot of people have been saying how Colin Trevorrow is very much aping or homaging Steven Spielberg style in the early Amblin. And yeah, totally. But that's the only sequence I felt, other than some specific shots throughout the film, that really captured that Amblin vibe, the family and the household and stuff.
I can see that.
And the relationship between the mom and the kids.
I wasn't really
Judy Greer
totally invested. I liked Judy Greer. I was hoping she would have had more.
Greer. Yeah, that's the rule of thumb for your movie: more Judy Greer. That's it. She only has what my friend actually called it. He's like, because in the trailer they show her tearful goodbye to her kids. And he's like, she's gonna have two scenes: her saying goodbye and one at the end where she's crying because they're safe. And she has one more. They added one more. They caught us off guard. One to reinforce that she's worried. Anyway, future filmmakers, more Judy Greer, please. You can never have enough.
So I felt like when they finally were on their way to the island for the first time, I believe they had like some of the original theme going on, and it felt like we were going back to its roots. So I was kind of...
I felt like it was trying to convey that, but
I'm not saying I think it did, but like you're saying, like I do think that was the intention of what it was trying to build up to.
Yeah, I saw the intention. I just don't think it was ultimately successful. And I mean, a lot of that kind of... It's weird because the film is thematically conscious of what it is, of how it's a studio production.
Super meta.
Yes.
Except
I don't feel like it ever basically transcends that, in the sense that it's aware that it's a studio creation. It's just kind of like
up there, but it's never...
Yeah, it's on its mind, but it still is a studio production, right? It never becomes more than that. As it's almost a little... It's not even really a thematic concern. It just brings it up. It's like, yes, we know we're kind of a Hollywood...
Well, I mean, even... I think they're just calling it Vacation, but like the new remake, reboot...
Oh, yeah, it's totally aware.
Whatever. There's a line that's pretty similar to the one in Jurassic World where it's just like... it doesn't matter. It's going to live up to its same name. It doesn't matter if you've seen the first one. But in this one, you have Jake Johnson.
I have no idea who that is.
The guy with the shirt.
Oh, the guy with the vintage Jurassic Park shirt.
Yeah, and he like
Who has my favorite scene in the movie? I think.
When like Bryce Dallas Howard's like asking questions about all the stuff on his desk, and he just like turns. He's like, "But the first park is legit."
Yeah.
And they're kind of like referencing it, and it's always kind of.
That's the thing. It's on the mind, but ultimately, I think it's still a studio production, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't ever. It's not a true concern because by the end of it, it's not saying anything about it being a studio production. It just becomes one and never.
It's weird. It's not fully connected because I felt there was.
Although it's fucking riddled with homage to the first one, down to the character arcs.
Even the Jeep that they find that's 22 years old and they fix within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Those kids are gonna be friggin' expert mechanics.
I like the film, but when I watched the movie, there was about 10 of us in the theater. It's just me and my coworkers, and so we do this from time to time, and we kind of like yell out things about the movie as it happens. Yeah. So during that part is when I yelled at. I was like, "Oh, come on! Like I can't." I was like, "I can't believe that you guys fucking brought dinosaurs back to life. I can't believe you fixed up a car." Which was apparently it's the same car that Hammond drove from the helicopter in the first one.
It's funny because the original Jurassic Park is full of moments where logically they make no sense if you look at them from at a distance.
Yeah.
But Spielberg is such a master that he has a sleight of hand that you just don't notice them, right? Like the one example that I always remember and read up about is the T-Rex attack, how it climbs out of the fence, it's
right. The first scene.
Yeah, they establish he climbs over the fence, but then later on they establish there's like a 40-foot drop. It's like, how did it get in? But you're not even conscious of that because emotionally you're so invested in what's going on. Yeah, I don't feel Colin Trevorrow has the chops to point you in another direction so you don't notice these things.
When he has the flaws in the scenes like this one where it's so clear that it happens, it's so much easier to pick up on versus anything Spielberg does. Mm-hmm. But I don't really, I guess that's comparing a new filmmaker to Steven Spielberg. It's kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But with I can't get over that scene because they're fixing up this 22-year-old car. It drives off, and about 5 seconds later, Owen and Claire show up
and fix their own car, right?
No, they don't fix the other car.
Oh no, the dinosaur attacks.
Yeah, and then the dinosaur shows up.
Yeah.
So it's like you're telling me that they fixed the car, and then if they took an extra 5 seconds, then both the Indominus Rex and Owen and Claire would have all been in the same place. Come on,
straight dead.
That's how the movie would have just ended right there.
I guess it's unfair to compare them, but when he's so clearly homaging a master, I feel like it's not even worth it to do unless you can do it. And he has one movie before this one?
Yeah, he has Safety Not Guaranteed, which
I haven't seen that.
I really like. I think you should check it out. I'm also Jake Johnson's in it, Aubrey Plaza, Mark Duplass. They're all great. I follow most of their film work that they do, and I enjoy them and stuff. So I think that might be part of it because they're in a number of indie films where they're just hanging out with friends, it seems like, so it feels more real. But I really like that one, and he brought Jake Johnson in this, and he's hilarious in this movie. But this movie constantly tries to for the studio making it is constantly trying to up what was made before.
Yeah, and again, the movie's aware of this. I mean, it has that shot where that aquatic dinosaur eats the shark, and it's almost a commentary on modern blockbusters totally having to outdo the blockbusters of yesteryear.
I wanted to touch on that scene as well because once it goes back into the water, the audience gets submerged.
Yeah, the seats go under,
and then they're looking into the water, but the way the water plays a reflection, and then they show everybody sitting down their seats, it looked like a movie theater.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even considered that.
And
it's a reflection of us, huh?
Yeah, and it totally reminded me of what.
Didn't we bring this up in the last episode? Did I? We were or with somebody. I was talking Inglorious Bastards.
Oh, I think we did mention some of it. Yeah, when we saw the
German film.
Yeah, Nation's Pride. I looked up the name of the short film.
I still don't know.
It was Eli Roth.
Okay.
But
know your factoids.
But that scene entirely reminded me of like the final shot of Wolf of Wall Street.
Another.
Which is also.
But that's more of a. Yeah, so you think he's pointing the finger at us? Want this?
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think except maybe Wolf of Wall Street might be a little bit more despicable.
The thing is,
in a way,
Wolf of Wall Street's ultimately building to that point, right? So it means something. I feel like in this film, it comes very early, that shot. And again, all that thematic stuff where it's concerned comes very early, and I feel like the film just forgets it, and by the end of the movie, I don't know, because I just saw it this morning,
right?
By the way, so I'm still formulating my thoughts on it. Although I can say, because I haven't said actually yet, it's a hard question. I don't like it, I think. I mean, it's not bad. The thing is, Hollywood's gotten really good at making okay blockbusters, like nothing egregiously wrong with them, but they just sort of.
We're also talking about the fourth film in a franchise that was started by something as great as Jurassic Park. Yeah. I guess comparing it, even though you might not want to, it's kind of hard to not compare it to it.
Yeah, but again, when the movie itself is comparing itself, you have to kind of
yeah.
Instead of almost throwing out the book and just being its own thing, which I feel like most remakes, reboots should just do. It's too beholden to the original.
Yeah, well, there's even that scene going back to the car where they go back to the original park, and then they find the banner that falls on the T-Rex before, and then they light it on fire with matches.
Use it as a torch. Doesn't really mean anything. It's just remember the banner? Yeah, cool.
Because all fucking kids have matches on them.
Yeah, in their fanny packs. Oh, yeah, by the way, speaking of the kids, they're, I think, my biggest problem with this movie, because in the original film, again, oh god, we're drawing comparisons, but if you're going to have two kids, you have to, right?
Well, it's even the same, the boy is the one who, in the original, was the one who was, fascinated with all the dinosaurs. Meanwhile, the girl didn't really care.
Yeah, she was the older one, and the older one, this one, just doesn't care either. But again...
It's kind of a douche. I loved him in Kings of Summer, but, in here, I'm just come on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't get what their arcs are supposed to be. I feel like in the original movie, the kids are more central, right? And they're more than just tools to have us empathize with their fear.
That's also kind of because, in the first one, they all go to the island together, right? But in this one, we have 2-3 different POVs into the story, so we're all over the place. Even though 2 of them are kind of connected, but it's still all over the place.
Yeah, they take a while actually. I feel like their story to connect with Bryce Dallas Howard, who I feel like she is actually the main driving force of the film, despite what trailers would indicate, which would say Chris Pratt, even though Chris Pratt's more of an ancillary character. And speaking of which, one thing I really don't like about this movie is that it reduces Chris Pratt to being kind of boring. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I found boring. I thought it was.
He's just boring in the sense that he's just a typical.
The scene where he's called a badass. I was nodding my head, and everybody in my theater was yes,
yeah, but
yes, you are.
We've seen that kind of character before, and yeah, Chris Pratt can pull it off. And I don't want to put Chris Pratt into a box. He wasn't. How many more times can I say Chris Pratt? But I mean, I don't want to put him into a box.
Not a joke, but he wasn't as. He wasn't Star-Lord, which I was kind of expecting him to be, because there's the scene where he's talking about how animals have all these feelings, and that clip was shown before a month ago or a few weeks ago, and there was a huge backlash against it, kind of they were trying to say it was some sexist thing.
When she goes up to him in his trailer.
Yeah.
Well, it's just because Joss Whedon. People took that out of context, but not out of context, just misunderstood what he was saying. It's not that it's sexist so much as that we've seen these characters before where the woman is just uptight, cold-hearted, logical, or whatever. and she's so blinded by work, she's basically forsaken all her emotions, which is this horrible stereotypical character. And again, we can have these characters because all feminism really argues is we just need more representation of all these other types of women that exist in the world, right? They're not Madonna or a whore kind of thing, right? And so we can have a character like Bryce Dallas Howard's character in this film. It's just that we've seen so much of her, it's getting tiring, right? We can write better characters.
It was just that, remember when I saw the clip for the first time, I was like, I cringed a little, and I was just like, this is weird. But then it was like, that's the only scene in the movie where it's kind of like plays out like that, and her character gets better as she goes.
The thing I don't like about her character is, again, tying into what I just said, is that she's so focused on work. The film almost feels like it's this retrograde idea that if a woman focuses on work, she's abandoning her mothering instinct, right? She even says she's not thinking of having kids.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. And I feel like Judy Greer's character, when she comes in the middle, that her third scene or whatever, second scene, is almost maybe originally written to counteract that, because they're showing Judy Greer at work.
Yeah.
And she's also concerned about her kids. It's like you can have both kind of thing. But it plays so quickly, and its focus is more on Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard's character, not wanting kids and being so detached from her own nephews.
Well, it's weird because she's like, even though she's detached to her own nephews, which I remember there's the scene where Owen asks like how old her nephews are, and she doesn't remember their age.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the age. And I remember turning to one of my friends, and I was like, this scene could have hit harder. I was like, that line, because it's just like, it's kind of like, oh yeah, she doesn't know, she's not the best aunt, and whatever, and it just kind of like blows past. And I was like, I felt like they could have used that a little bit better.
But as an uncle, I think I can relate to not knowing your.
Oh, I know. I've
exact ages.
I have cousins, and like
they're around 4-ish.
He's in high school, so
yeah, they're this big.
There was one scene that made me and all my friends, all my coworkers, laugh out loud and scream like yes. When all shit's finally going loose, and we have and the two kids are like in the gyroscope, they called it, and they're going away, and then the worker at the park gets the call saying like to shut it down.
Yeah.
And he has to yell out like, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, and he starts giving that speech. And all the guests start to complain, and he just like yells back, he's like, guys, this is just my job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that character. Yeah, me and my buddy laughed too, because he's the most genuine feeling character, because we all know that guy who's like that teenage, like, yeah, he's at a theme park, it's just this teenager, he's just doing his job. He's even at a theme park with living dinosaurs, he's bored and he just wants to get through the day.
See, and that's work, like me and my friends who had just worked a really long day and like was super hectic, and I can tell you right now, I had a lot of guests give the most ridiculous complaints about some stuff, and I was like, I'm just kind of standing there, I'm like, this is out of my hands. This is
I just make the food.
I was like, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's actually the one point in the film that I feel like actually came to life, where I felt, oh, there's a human in this movie.
What did you think about the CGI?
I noticed some like animatronics. I think the dead brontosaurus, I think. But the fact that I'm having so much trouble figuring out what was,
I want to say that was, especially because like that's such another homage to the original. But I'm trying to figure out, is the when the Indominus Rex first breaks out, and he's like, and Owen is underneath the car.
Yeah. And
you have and Indominus Rex is like next to the car, and it's like looking. Was that CGI? Animatronic?
I don't know. I guess it's a testament to CGI that it's gone good enough to the point where it always, in instances, it is kind of indiscernible. But there's also so much of it that you just start tuning it out. You're not wowed by it anymore. Like, again, Jurassic Park is often considered still the best use of CGI, right?
Because they perfectly blended practical and then CGI.
Yeah, and then the first big CGI shot you get is the first time we ever see the dinosaurs like in the full scale with the Brontosaurus, and the soaring score comes in, and you're just totally taken aback. And the beauty of that moment is that it focuses on Laura Dern's and the other guy's guy. Fuck, what's his name?
Sam Neill?
Yeah, Sam Neill's faces, right? And
yeah.
you just see their wonder. And that's the
Spielberg
empathetic
shot.
element, right? That's Spielberg. And that's what I feel this film is missing. It's just CGI noise, and you're expected to be wowed by it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I guess if, like, that kind of plays with how you might have felt when they brought the original T-Rex back in.
I actually felt that reveal was pretty okay. I mean, you see the eyes. It starts with the eyes, the glow in the eyes, the doors. Well, it starts with the door opening, and the glow in the eyes. And does the score come in at that point? I can't remember. But I just know...
I think it might have been silent just for the impact of the footsteps.
I know. I definitely felt like that scene was working more than some of the other homages, or... Actually, because it's not even really an homage, and I feel that's why it works. Because it's playing on our knowledge, but it's its own thing. It's saying, oh shit, here she comes. She's going to fucking save the day. Without being such a deus ex machina as she is sort of in the first film, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, ultimately it worked, but again, the whole film as a whole is so flat that I didn't care for it. I guess that's my ultimate stance on it.
What do you think about the final battle, though?
It's kind of cool. My buddy, who is a huge Jurassic Park fan, he's like the biggest. He's like, at least I got to see something I always wanted to see. I'm like, what, a T-Rex fighting another dinosaur? He's like, no, T-Rex teaming up with a little raptor.
I thought, I might have to check again, but I'm pretty sure it was like either designed or it was like a one-take shot. As they started from one end and then went all the way around, which then led up to the
big gator thing,
whatever the fuck it's called.
The aquatic dinosaur.
Yeah, in my notes I called it a whale because right now
the furthest possible thing from a dinosaur.
I have a question mark to make me check up on it. I never did my research.
Good job.
But it like all came back to that reveal, and
actually, now I think about it, that is sort of the Deus Ex Machina.
That is, but
that is the tie into the T-Rex coming out of nowhere.
I think I'm fine with it. Like, it was just those moments where I was just like, this is so cool, because it's also a monster film more than maybe Godzilla was.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well, I mean that in the sense of
just more monsters.
No, it's just like that final fight in the recent Godzilla film.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's what I kind of thought of when I was watching the big finale.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and I saw the connection. So when it was that one shot where the Indominus is by the edge, and then you had the T-Rex and you had the Velociraptor, and they're both just like waiting for the next move, and I'm just like, shit's about to go down, and then I realize he's on the edge, the gate's broken, and I was just like, oh shit.
Oh, you knew
let's
you
do
saw
this.
it coming.
I saw it coming, and then it happened, and it was we cheered.
Yeah,
we cheered.
No, my favorite was after the fight where the raptor and the T-Rex look at each other. My buddy's like, just call me when you need me.
Yeah, and then he leaves, and then there's almost a head nod between the Velociraptor and Chris Pratt.
Exactly, I was expecting that. I was like, oh, he's gonna give him a nod. But no,
I kept waiting, and it was close enough. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Last week you talked about Spy and its final image being like the
kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, what did you think of the final shot in this?
The T-Rex reclaiming the park, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the shots, again, it's the T-Rex reclaiming the park, so it's against the whole genetic modification thing about naturalism and stuff. So I guess it works, and my friend was totally wowed by it. Again, I only bring him up because he's literally the biggest Jurassic Park fan. But I don't know, for me it just, again, like the rest of the film, it's just super flat. I don't know, I can't I find myself struggling to speak about this movie because there's so little to grasp for me. Like, there's clearly, it has things on its mind, but but it doesn't have the attention span to stick with it.
Yeah, it's in the area, but it never like grasps it properly.
Yeah, it's never saying anything about those thoughts. It just has them.
It's like its themes are trying to be like an amalgamation of all the previous themes in all the other films.
Yeah. I mean, it's clever, but it's never more than that. You know what I mean? It's clever, but it's not smart, I guess is how I would put it.
Maybe it wants to be clever, but then there's like points in it where it, even though it's trying it will stop itself and be like, fuck it, we're a movie about dinosaurs, let's throw some on the screen anyway. Yeah. Which is okay, it's still dinosaurs.
Well, I guess it works for you. It doesn't work for me as much. I was always more of a space guy.
Going back to that first episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up 2001 in every single episode. I hope you know. It's weird because I don't like saying I have a favorite movie, and that's just kind of my go-to answer. But yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey. All right. Let's transition now into our question of the week. Unless you had something more to say about Jurassic World.
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. Ultimately, would you recommend it?
I think so. I think it's still a dinosaur movie that's a lot of fun, and it'll make you laugh. It'll make you cheer.
Where's it fall in the quadrilogy for you?
Second or third? I mean,
how's your ranking? Tell me.
I need
Jurassic Park at the top. Obviously.
Jurassic Park. No, number 3 is my favorite. Jurassic Park. I want to rewatch Lost World because I know Spielberg did that one as well.
Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of a bit of a mess.
But I don't care for the third one at all. So third one's fourth.
Because I think I care about the third one more than I do the second one.
Well,
yeah, for me it's Jurassic Park 3, Lost World, and then World.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. It's just my mantra is never hate a movie, and I don't hate this one. Obviously, I don't even dislike it so much as it's such a nothing movie to me that's almost worse.
Fortunately, I think that's how I felt about Focus this year.
Oh, fuck, I'm never gonna watch Focus, so I'll never have any.
I mean, there's Margot Robbie, so that's.
I'll just put on Wolf of Wall Street again.
Yeah, that'll. I'll look at behind the scenes pictures of Suicide Squad. That'll do.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Anyway, so let's now transition into our question of the week, which is, Andres.
So I found this question through AMC Movie Talk, which I think is interesting and fascinating. They talk about new stuff every once in a while. You can find them on YouTube. So the question is, if the world was ending and you only had enough time to watch one last film.
Why is the world ending? It's apocalypse, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Because the way I'm imagining this is if, as the movie is coming to a close, we got buildings and earthquakes just fucking.
Earth is done.
It's like there's it.
Humanity is done.
Why the world would be ending and why we would choose to sit down and watch a movie? That's not relevant. What's relevant
and the time frame you could choose as the longest movie in the world, and the world will wait.
There's no time limit. Like you can put on Titanic or I think Showa. I think like a 9-hour documentary about a Holocaust.
Really sad before you die.
You joked around about putting something really long and then just like walking around.
No, let's not break our own rules here. You have to watch that movie.
So if that was the case and everything's coming to shit as the movie's ending,
yes,
what would you pick?
I guess I'll kick off. I think you always start, so I'll start this time. Or no, I think I started last year. Anyway, I'm going with No Country for Old Men. And it's weird. I've been struggling all week for this question just because nothing has popped out at me like as clearly as some of the other questions have. Like I love No Country for Old Men, and I feel it's completely appropriate because it has themes of death and almost bowing out of the material world. And it's almost also about all the loose ends we leave after we die.
Okay.
Which is perfect. And specifically, that final dream and then the smash to black, which is completely appropriate for if the world's ending, it's essentially a giant smash to black for humanity, right?
Yeah.
So it's perfect, and I feel that is the perfect encapsulation of the apocalypse, which is essentially just humanity's death, right? And all the things we left unfinished. And that's what No Country for Old Men is basically for me. Again, like I was struggling. I was thinking maybe Apocalypse Now because it has that existential horror, like but that's more about humanity, the darkness in humanity, and what we're capable of. But it's also
You should do a two-parter. You should watch that and Heart of Darkness, if it was possible.
And it's also like 3 hours long, so I'd have a long bit of a life left before the world ends. And then the other one was Cloud Atlas, because it's also about how your soul basically survives your body, right? How we are reincarnated into these other beings, into other people. And so it's a more hopeful ending for humanity.
Okay.
But ultimately, I don't, and I guess in a very literal sense, I don't believe in that. Like, I believe in the sense of what you do will have ripples into the future and stuff. But I'm dead. Once I'm dead, I'm dead. So it's more fatalistic, more nihilistic. So I have to go with No Country for Old Men. How about you?
I think it's a little funny and fascinating how like you had trouble with yours. Meanwhile,
you had yours like instantly.
I came up with my answer before I finished my Mount Rushmore decisions.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I'm not gonna. Sorry, I almost gave away your movie, but I know it's your like favorite movie, and No Country for Old Men is one of my like
one
top
of my
5
favorites.
favorite movies.
I like it's so like even earlier you going on about 2001. Like I have such trouble trying to figure out which ones are mine. Mm-hmm. But before I get to it, like I think the other two, I have like 2 honorable mentions that I almost chose that I think I might have chosen, and then in the middle of explaining about it, then I came up with my final answer, and I was like, that's the one. But I wanted to go with Fight Club or Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. Why Fight Club?
Fight Club is.
We'll probably have this discussion on a later episode, but
we will have a David Fincher episode because this other guy doesn't really agree with Fincher most of the time.
Are you referring to me?
Yes.
Yes, I am not. I like things he does. I haven't seen Zodiac, which is the one I feel will convince me. But Fight Club, I didn't. It's just so confused. Curious Case of Benjamin Button is so confused.
I'm not going to argue anything about Curious Case. Sorry.
Alien 3 is noble.
That's not fair.
No, but that's the thing. Every David Fincher fan shits on Alien 3, and yet I'm like, you know what? Alien 3 is not that bad.
Did you watch the work print version?
I think I watched the theatrical version. I usually watch
theatrical is worse than the work print.
Oh, so I might even like it even more. Anyway,
or less, depending on how much you like Fincher.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just felt like his nihilistic, his misanthropic tendencies fit Alien 3 better than they fit fucking everything else he does. I mean, Gone Girl was amazing. I love Gone Girl. And he's having fun in that movie, and it shows, and it ties with his concerns. But I don't know. Well, we'll get into discussion later.
Fight Club. I bought that on DVD back in like grade 8, so it would have been 2006, 2007, something like that. And I remember watching it, and when the movie ended, it was like the first DVD that I ever stopped and was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this again.
Yeah.
And I just put it back from the beginning.
My brother is the one who got me into Fight Club. Well, like, who showed me Fight Club, because he had the DVD. And so I popped it on, and I've obviously, as a teenager, I loved it.
Right.
Because the movie has the mind of a teenager and never grows up. We'll have this discussion later, all right? Let's get into what movie you'd actually pick.
I'm going with The Social Network.
Interesting choice. Why? Because it doesn't strike me as a last movie before you die movie.
It's really not, which is why like I thought it'd be even more interesting to pick it, because it's kind of going against it.
It does highlight this fundamental difference we have in how we approach these questions. Typically, I try to tie it into the thematics and what does this movie mean to me and to the question at large, where you as typically go to your more personal inclination. You know?
Well, I'm connected to it. Like I said, I love Fincher, and I will maybe Zodiac and this one are the two films of his that I would consider being like the closest.
Have you seen the director's? I'm gonna ask you a question on the air right now. Have you seen the director's cut of Zodiac? It's the only one on Blu-ray.
I have it on DVD.
Fuck. Because I want to know whether it's better to pick up the DVD and watch the original cut first or the director's cut. Anyway.
I don't know, actually.
Answer me this off after.
So, I've seen it, but Social Network and Zodiac, I think, are like the closest to maybe perfect he's gotten, in my opinion. Like movies where like
I do love the Social Network too.
I do not see things either I do not see things wrong with it, or they're so minimal that I don't even care about it. Mm-hmm. Even Zodiac. Well,
there's something wrong. There's bad in every movie, but
right.
It's about what the movie is trying to do and whether it achieves its goals.
Even
everything
Zodiac,
else is just onto the side.
Even Zodiac, that runs at like almost 3 hours long, I believe. It's like, I think it's paced so wonderfully well that you don't even feel it. Yeah. But with the Social Network, so I'm so connected to it. I've adored it. I've seen it. I can't count how many times. But I remember even when they announced it, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a movie about Facebook.
No one expected the Facebook movie to be any good.
No one expected it to be any good, so it's like totally against it. And
everyone expected the Internship, the Google movie.
That fucking piece of shit.
I never watched it.
I saw scenes. So that's one of the reasons, but it was also the same reason why I would have gone with Fight Club and Cabin in the Woods is because I would want to watch a movie that kind of would connect to the fact that the world would be ending. So Fight Club has like that scene at the end where you have Marlon, the narrator, holding hands as like you see these buildings crash down.
Which is absolutely confused, but again, we'll have a discussion later.
I also
doesn't make sense with the rest of the movie that came before it, but alright.
I don't want to watch, like, I could, if I were to choose one last movie, I could go and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch Citizen Kane, one of the best movies ever made, or I love Citizen Kane, but I can watch something a little more lighthearted, something a little more easier to swallow, something more fun.
I guess it's where I had so much trouble is that, yeah, there's a crap ton of movies I'd want to watch before I die, right? Like, I Heart Huckabees is one of my absolute favorite movies. But I so desperately want to tie the thematics of the film to the idea that humanity is ending.
Yeah.
And I'm ending as a conscious being. And
that's kind of...
I just thought No Country for Old Men took perfectly time.
Have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yes. Multiple times. And I love it.
So, Cabin in the Woods, in the final sequences, you have the two friends who are constantly fighting for their survival, which then ends up being the reason that the world ends.
Yeah, ultimately they essentially, because of they refuse to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah,
the demon, or what is it? The fucking Titan.
The god. Oh,
it's almost like a Cthulhian.
It's weird because it's also the movie's meta, so it's kind of us. It's the audience. Yeah, but the audience kills
Anyways,
them.
They accept their fate.
They accept
and
their
death.
And then there's then they have that. I think it's John Carpenter's The Thing, like, homage, where they just kind of like sit down and accept it.
Yeah. Well, with The Thing, it's more like, you'll just never know the person beside you, right?
Well, yeah, but it is a reference to it, but it's just like they're just like, well, the world's ending, and they just sit down. They're like, fuck it, pretty much.
Not anything more they can do.
There's nothing they can do, and then like almost immediately after, you got the giant hand that like breaks through where they are and assumingly rips the world apart. I kind of wish
the hand didn't look so like humanistic. It was more of like an otherworldly thing.
Yeah, if only, but minor.
That's why I think of it more as like Kronos, a Titan or some shit, than some Cthulhian or Lovecraftian. I keep saying Cthulhian, Lovecraftian being.
So that was another option, but I think Social Network, the ending might have been something I would have like preferred how to go. Like you talking about how No Country for Old Men ends like smash cut to black, and it's like super sudden, and you kind of don't see it.
Well, yeah, it's just before he's talking about his dreams of how he's in his dreams he's on his way to do something, but then the dream ends, right? Because that's life. you're doing things, but then you die and you leave all these things. Oh, fuck, I can't remember the word. I've been struggling to think of the word. Loose ends is the closest I can get to it.
Errand stuff?
Fuck, I don't know. You leave all these loose ends when you die, right? And
right.
You'll just never... You can never tie them up because that's life. It goes on without you. And so that was appropriate. But for Social Network, I feel like the ending is a great commentary on modern society and how you can be so distant from the people next to you.
Well, there's the point of... The reason why I'm choosing
see
it
how
is...
it ties into the apocalypse.
In the opening of the film, you've got Zuckerberg and Albright sitting in the bar, and they're talking, and then they end up breaking up.
Yes.
Right, and that's kind of like... And then from there, he ends up making Face Smash, right? Which eventually kind of is the beginning of his code that ends up becoming Facebook. And that's how, like, jumpstarts everything. And then they go right back to it with the end of the film, where Rashida Jones' character asks him to go to lunch, I believe. And he's like, oh, I've got more important things to do, or something along the lines of that. And he just opens up his laptop, goes on Facebook,
Sends her a friend request, and then just keeps pressing refresh, waiting for it to happen. Because he's so desperate for connection, right? And it's almost, he can't get it in his real life, and so he almost uses Facebook as a cipher. Is that the right word? Anyway, as a surrogate or whatever. For that, he's looking for that connection. And I don't know if what you're saying is ultimately at the end of the podcast you just want someone to go out with you, or what?
If that was the case, I'd go with seeking a friend for the end of the world, which is I asked this question to a few of my friends at work, and I got 3 people answering with this
all
movie.
Independent of each other. Just in case you heard that or us talking, they're watching a soccer game downstairs, and it's getting quite lively. So I'm sorry if you hear some sporadic cheering throughout.
So this
or booing.
This was the film that, like, 3 of my coworkers, like, all turned to each other and were just like, no, this is the movie to go out with. So I guess if 3 people...
The movie that no one saw.
Few of us saw it. Steve Carell's in it.
Keira Knightley's in it, right?
Yeah. It's nice. It's bittersweet. It's a nice way to go out. It's kind of the reverse of the Smash.
It's almost too literal for me. I like No Country for Old Men is more tangentially connected.
Verse minus the smash cut to black, they have like a slow fade to white, which they like also you also play around and can see in like 6 Feet Under.
Total Recall. Hey, that's a great movie. Don't
the original.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the remake for a second.
Why would I ever talk about the fucking remake? No one is talking about the remake. The Arnold Schwarzenegger, Paul Verhoeven one. Of course. I haven't
seen that one.
Yeah. Oh my God, do it. It's amazing.
So I don't know if I could maybe like go TV with smash cut to or the fade to white. I might watch the finale of 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, I haven't seen 6 Feet Under, so I can't say.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, you should watch Total Recall. All right, less of a time investment than 6 Feet Under.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Any other reason you'd want Social Network in your?
I don't think so. I think that covers most of it.
All right. Well, what's in your film queue for the week?
This week I'm probably gonna try and watch Road Warrior, and in the theaters I'm gonna try and catch Insidious Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, nice. I haven't seen the second one yet.
And
Rose Byrne is in the third one, right?
In the second one?
In the third one, the new one.
I don't know if she's in the third one because it's a prequel.
I'll watch anything with Rose Byrne in it.
It's a prequel, so
it's a prequel.
So just watch the second one.
James Wan's still on behind that?
James Wan's not. He produced it, and Leigh Whannell, I believe his name is directing it. Who wrote the previous 2. He also wrote many of the Saw franchise, and pretty much everything James Wan has done horror related. Horror related, like, because I think he didn't touch Fury 7, but other than that, they've been working side by side.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, at the TIFF theater, they're like showing some older films, so watching Singing in the Rain, and then you'll be, I guess spoiler on your end, but you'll be joining me for Lawrence of Arabia.
Will I?
You
I want to see Lawrence of Arabia in the theater. That's this Saturday, right? You're gonna have to remind me. Text me on fucking Wednesday.
I'll remind you. And then I'll also be watching Inside Out for next week.
For next week's episode, where we will be asking what's I guess we'll do it. What's our favorite trilogy of all time? Not best trilogy, because that's Godfather, which this guy hasn't seen.
So what's in your film queue?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Seen the first one?
Actually, it's pretty much the same from last week, because it's been a busy week and I haven't been able to watch the movies I've been wanting to watch. But I will finish the Marx Brothers collection finally with Duck Soup, and I'm super excited because I've loved every single one of their movies. Although I have added a couple films to the queue, which I'll probably still have to watch next week when we do the next episode, which is the 2 Todd Solondz movies, Welcome to the Dollhouse and Happiness. And yeah, we'll see what I can watch. Oh, and I'm also going to be doing research for a future episode. We'll keep that secret, so hopefully you guys get curious.
We'll
it's going to be our first guest episode, which is super fun. So anyway,
guests, plural.
Yeah.
I think we'll let you guys know about that one when we talk about what's in our queue next week.
Yeah, well, that's when we'll reveal what the guest episode is about, because we're dedicating the entire episode to the question. We're not doing a movie of the week that week just because there's nothing really strong coming out that week.
We're making a statement with for after Inside Out. There are 2 weeks where we're gonna make a statement about what we want to talk about.
Pretty much.
So that week of the 26th, Ted 2 comes out, and I might see it in the theater.
I haven't seen the first one. I have no inclination to watch them. So.
I might see it in the theater, but I don't think it's gonna fascinate me enough to warrant a conversation. And the week after that is Terminator and Magic Mike XXL, and Terminator looks like a fucking mess.
Hopefully it's not.
Yeah, please let it be good.
And I'll still probably watch it, but we're gonna talk Magic Mike, because the first Magic Mike is actually a great movie. Steven Soderbergh, one of my favorites.
I recently watched it during breakfast.
All right.
I was just watching it on Netflix, and my mom and my brother walked over my shoulder during if it was any other scene, they would have not even paid attention. But no, of course it had to be
the dick pumping scene.
No, it was just one of the stripping scenes, and they all just kind of stopped and they're like, "What the fuck?"
I'll have to tell when we get to Magic Mike XXL. I'll have to tell my story of when I watched Magic Mike, because it's pretty great. Anyway, so next week, favorite trilogy of ours, which I guess is a more personal question. Till then, you can consider the question, but consider this week's question as well. Let us know what your last film before the apocalypse would be. I'm Jeffrey Pedernera.
And I'm Andres Guzman.
Don't forget to check us out on Facebook.
Subscribe to us on iTunes. We're on iTunes.
Oh yeah, we're on
now.
iTunes. Oh my god! This is gonna have to be next week's amendments again.
You almost missed that.
I can't believe I signed off before telling you. We are on iTunes, so find us on iTunes, subscribe, like, and all the comment, all that good stuff. Please, it helps us out. We want to know people are listening. No one's listening.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Mom, Dad, if you're listening. Yeah, so please check our Facebook. I forgot to mention, where can we find you, Andres?
On Twitter and on Letterboxd, BOXD, at Pocket Writer.
There you go. You have a nice cohesive thing. I am Jeff_Ped on Twitter and just Jeff Ped on Letterboxd. So yeah, till then, consider the question. I'm Jeffrey Pedernera.
And I'm Andres Guzman.
This is Film Q, motherfuckers.